Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso. Big cat. Brain is creating a thought. Let me point something out that people don't seem to see, especially the mentally healthy, in other words, atheist scientists in the United States of America. And what they don't see is what we are, what we truly are, and especially Dawkins. And I'm going to explain that to you.
That's what he said. Well, I sort of believe that I don't think it should be taught in schools.
Yeah. Well, this fills me with despair. I mean, this is not something you believe in or not. I mean, this is a fact. It is a fact. It's just that.
And of course, they're talking about evolution. And why Ben Carson, a neuroscientist, a surgeon, believes in imaginary friend zombie Jesus. And he does not believe in evolution, which is a fact. But in science, you call it a theory, like a theory of gravity. It's subject to change. See? And in science, there is nothing more accurate and more true than a theory. You will see that none of these scientists talks about the brain. Nowhere. Religion and schizophrenias are one and the same. They all have imaginary friend or foe, irrational belief acceptance. Nobody seems to mention the brain. No scientists. They don't mention the brain. They have all these lunatics, Christianity-infected people. I call them Christ-psychotics, because religion in itself, created by the brain, the beliefs of religion, imaginary friend of foe, irrational belief acceptance, at the core of all religions and schizophrenias, is a mental disorder. And it manifests itself in the beliefs of these people like Ben Carson, the GOP, a lot of the GOP and the Supreme Court, Scalia, and all these people, they are Christians. And this HIV of the brain, which in truth is a virus, because we all have the born virus in our genome, and we are nothing but evolved mutated primates that evolved from a spit of cum from our father's creator, which is the cock that spit the cum, into our mom's cave of creation, fertilizing an egg, and here we are, because it created our brains. And the brain is the organ we think with, we reason with. Nobody's born believing. See, during the imprinting period, after we came out of our mother's cave, we start gaining all the information. Thanks to what? The pulvinar nuclei that gathers under all the five senses. And the pulvinar nuclei is a gate in the brain, the organ in the brain that actually in the hypothalamus that actually gathers, completely redirects all the information acquired by the senses during the imprinting period. See, none of these people tells you that. All these scientists, they should get rid of the tunnel vision goggles. Wake up, realize that people of faith are people of schizophrenia. They're sick people. And the sickness is spreading in churches, mosques, synagogues. Religion is a mental illness, a cancer of the brain. It's the worst disease that anybody can have. Because these people, they call it religion. And religion seems to be sanity. Incredible. Look at this.
You can't not believe it unless you're ignorant. And I don't believe that presidential candidates are all ignorant. I believe what they're doing is they think they've got to say that in order to appeal to their constituency.
No, they're not ignorant. It's like schizophrenia does not discriminate. Are schizophrenic people or people with a temporal lobe epilepsy, mania, schizoaffective disorder ignorant? No, many are very highly intellectual. Look at Francis Collins. Even Isaac Newton was a Christ psychotic. And you know who Isaac Newton is. He was Christianity infected. He believed in magic stones and all this rest of angels and stuff and all this zombie Jesus and crap and Bible codes. Read about Newton and you'll see what I'm talking about. But these people, like Dawkins, ignore it. They ignore it. They know the disease that these people have in their brains, which is, I call it Christ psychosis. Zombie God belief.
What do you say to Ben Carson? Teaches medicine at Yale, and he says he's a creationist. He thinks that God created the world. He says, you're going to tell me that the complexity of the human brain, and he's a brain surgeon, came out of a soup full of chemicals and such.
Well, I understand that, but not suddenly. It took a very long time, at gradual stages. That's what these people don't understand. They think it will happen suddenly. Well, if you think that, of course you don't believe, obviously. It couldn't happen suddenly. But if it happens gradually, each stage just gives rise to the next stage, the next stage, the next stage. Each stage is only a tiny bit different from the one before.
See, Dawkins is completely clueless. He doesn't realize, he doesn't go and say, well, don't you understand that Ben Carson has a brain that is thinking just like a schizophrenic, intellectual schizophrenic, the same, or people suffer from epilepsy or depression, mania, bipolar disorder, the same thing. And that has to do with intelligence. Those crazy people are intellectuals. Doesn't he realize that why Dawkins doesn't say, well, doesn't Ben Carson wasn't he created by a spit of cum, a spit of DNA from his father's cock, which is a true creator? Wasn't he created, his brain was created by a spit of a sperm that evolved, he mutated, all the mutations? All the mutations that end up forming a baby, with an obviously defective brain like Ben Carson is, that studied in schools and was born in a Christianity-infected family with all this crap of the Bible and all this nonsense, going to church, and I was educating in a Christianity-infected university and all of a sudden become a surgeon? But wasn't he created by an act of coitus?
Understanding it. You just told me that all Republican candidates except one say they don't believe in delusion. Now that's a disgrace. But for a very eminent, distinguished doctor, as he is, to say that, it's even worse. Because, of course, evolution is the bedrock of biology. And biology is the bedrock of medicine. So for a distinguished doctor to not understand, I have to use the word understand, he clearly doesn't understand.
What about you, Richard Dawkins? You don't seem to understand that you were created by an act of coitus and that this here is your brain that formed by this act of coitus, by this bit of sperm from your dad, and he's the one that created thinking and was born in England, and that's the reason you speak English, and you don't speak any other of the 8,000 languages spoken on the planet? What do you think with? Don't you think with the brain? What about if I give you LSD or some other thing? Are you going to think correctly? What about if you suffer from schizophrenia? Or if I operate your brain? What is going to happen with your brain? Are you going to thinking all these thoughts that you have? Are you going to suffer delusions? What about if I, put a bag over your head and don't let you breathe and see what happens? He will have delusions. He'll be just like exactly the same like Ben Carson. He will believe in all this nonsense. See, this is what happens with these people. They're ignorant. In other words, clueless, not ignorant, of how the brain works. And sick brains create sick reasoning.
It's a terrible indictment.
So when people say it's a theory, it's a theory like all of science is a theory in the sense that it does rest on evidence.
Yeah, we've got to stop calling it a theory because the word theory is misunderstood. It's taken to mean hypothesis. Evolution is a fact. That's a simple fact. It is a fact.
Of course it is. Like it is a fact that religion is a mental illness. It's a neurological disorder. It's a fact that if a sick brain can only create sick reasoning. That's a fact. It's a fact that if you believe in God, you're a theotard, and it's a fact that the only true creator, God, is the penis cock of our fathers. These are facts. It's a fact that if I can bump you over the head or give you some entheogen, your thinking is going to be completely distorted. That's a fact. And these people don't see it. Even Farik Zakaria, which is born in India. And he says, oh, I'm a Muslim. Or the idea of being Muslim thing. Muslim is Islam psychosis. There are 73 sects in Islam. In Christ psychosis, this is like about hundreds of sects. So religion is a mental illness, it's a psychosis. And these people don't see it.
That's been confirmed by thousands
of independent, mutually confirming pieces of.
And see? Nobody mentions the brain. Farid Zakaria, which is brilliant, they don't talk about the brain. They don't talk. I mean, we are born out of a fuck. Hey, Richard Dawkins, you were born in England out of a fuck, and I was born in India out of a fuck, and I learned Hindu and I speak all that because when I got out of my mother's womb, that's the only thing they spoke around it. And I was all dude, you know, believing in all this Hindu gods and Hindu stuff because that's what I went to. I went to the temple when I was 2 or 3 years old. And they talked to me in English and they do all this bunch of ceremonies. And I believe in all that stuff. And you, Richard Dawkins, you were born in England with the Queen of England is the head of the Church of England. And you only spoke English and all that. And you were brought up in this Christianity infected idiots, imbecile people, suffering from this mental disorder. And that's a fact.
Because, you know, he's a very important public candidate, but also because I think he represents what a lot of people think. This represents the height of arrogance of humans to believe that they can understand God's mystery.
Yes, and I wouldn't want to call Mr. Carson arrogant. He's a nice man. I met him, and I liked him. But it is a form of arrogance to say we know what God does. I mean,
Who's God? There are 8,000 languages spoken in the planet. What is a God? See, they say, well, how are you going to know who God is and God and all that? God is cock. God is the penis of our Father. Get a clue, you idiots. These people are so clueless and blind. To be an atheist is to be mentally healthy. Act like one. No. Theos or Deus means God, but God is an imaginary friend. So, atheist means no belief in God or imaginary friend. People that don't believe in imaginary friends are sane, mentally healthy. In other words, an atheist is a mentally healthy, sane person. These guys don't have a clue what a God is. But in truth, if you want to talk about down-to-earth reality, who God is the creator, is the penis of our fathers, product of evolution that spit sperm and created a brain. And the brain creates cultures. Everything that exists on the planet is created by a human brain. Brain creates everything. Is the true God is the cock of our fathers that spit sperm, DNA, and creates our brains. Our brain is the creator of thought. When the brain is sick, it can only create sick, irrational, deluded thinking. What a concept. Why do these people, these brilliant minds, cannot understand something so simple? The religious people are sick people, are crazy people. They shouldn't be in government. They should be in asylums. All the GOP, all the churches should be closed down. And the United States of America, which is the most ignorant nation on the planet, full of nuts controlling the government, those people should be committed. They shouldn't be allowed to hold public office.
The only way to know anything is by looking at the evidence. In this particular case, the evidence is overwhelming. There are plenty of scientific ideas where the evidence is not overwhelming, and scientists disagree and over and out and needs further research. In the case of evolution, there is no doubt. It is a fact.
Occupy Democrats, idiots. The Democrats are pussies. They don't have any guts. These people are meek, they're idiots. I'm an independent. But they don't, the atheists are clueless. They don't have any balls and any guts to actually call all these Christianity-infected imbeciles running the country that they are lunatics, like Ben Carson or the old idiots. Donald Trump is another moron. Doesn't have any history. They don't have any knowledge of history, knowledge of science, knowledge of anything. And they don't realize that they have a brain, and a sick brain can only create sick thinking. What a concept.
Felony. This was released today. The charge is tampering with a governmental record. It's unclear exactly what that record.
See what Christ psychosis do?
The director has also been indicted on it and secretly recorded Planned Parenthood officials. The center released these videos last summer, as you may recall. They showed how, the center says they showed how Planned Parenthood was trying to sell fetal tissue for profit. These videos went viral. They have been the topic of debate on the campaign trail.
See? It's another example of Christ psychotics, that the American atheists, sane people, they don't even mention, they don't call the moronic Christians as theotarded, as stuck in the past, as sick people. Some of them, one of the schizophrenia, which is believing some begat that resurrect and say with blood. All the GOP are infected, and they spread all the lies, the same lies that they spread in church, they spread on this stuff in government. In government. And these people are the imbeciles that control the United States of America. Senators are infected. The Supreme Court justices are infected. These people have a lot of power. They make the laws. They control everything. And they are imbeciles running the country. And atheists, blind atheist scientists, say nothing. This is the reason why I get so upset. And believe me, if they don't call these moronic Christians for the theotarded, the ignorant, psycho people that they are, that belong in mental institutions, we are going to be in trouble in this country. Because all the churches should be closed down, because they rape the brain of children, they're molesting their brains, they feed all these lies and garbage of this Christian crap, and to them, and they when they grow up, become senators, and they are climate change deniers, anti-science pieces of garbage, and that's what you get running the country. These Christian imbeciles. And atheists say nothing. Dawkins is like, oh, that's the problem. The brain is the creator of thinking. A sick brain cannot create sick thinking. There you have it. And look at the Christ psychotic infected Congress. In charge of it are the GOP, the God-obsessed party, the lunatics, the anti-science, Christ psychotic infected imbeciles. And you know, the head of the committees, of course, are Republican imbeciles, the dummies, the anti-science moron, theotardists, stuck in the 12th century, believing in the resurrected somebody that said with blood. Look at Senator Imhoff. This imbecile here is in charge. He doesn't believe he's in charge of he doesn't believe in climate change, doesn't exist. Because he's a Christianity-infected imbecile with a screwed up brain. That's what this guy is. It's a shame that this country is run by these imbeciles. Look at that. 50-49 vote, United Senate, the imbeciles. Christianity-infected imbeciles here. Climate change not caused by humans. See how stupid these people are? These are the morons running the country. And mentally healthy, sane atheists like Dawkins and Harris, this idiot here, right here, doesn't call the Christianity-infected imbeciles raping the brain of children in churches for the lunatics, demented, theotarded imbeciles they are. They should belong not in Congress, but in asylums, getting their brains fixed. And see, Dawkins misses the whole point. He's blind. And the thing that really gets me is that the sane, mentally healthy, in other words, atheists that are all created by coitus, they don't slam the religiotards, the Christ psychotic infected imbeciles, all the religious psychotics, with the fact that thanks to atheism, collection of information over millennia, feeding our brains with knowledge, being able to tell between fact and fiction and experimentation, We atheists are responsible for science, the technology of today, for this, the internet. Thanks to atheism, mentally healthy. So these Christianity-infected imbeciles with these defective brains of the HIV of the neural array, the born of virus that makes them so damn theotard and stupid, they shouldn't benefit from atheism, science, from the internet. They should call angels. They should pray. Telepathic communication with imaginary friends to get cure of cancer or a toothache or anything. Don't benefit from that. Don't benefit from technology. Don't use electricity created by scientists, by atheist scientists. Instead of using anything electrical, just pray to your zombie god or to whatever imaginary friend you have to help you. Just pray. See, this is the stupidity and the cluelessness of this mentally healthy atheists in the United States of America. They don't slam the Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles with facts and reminding them that thanks to atheism, in other words, being mentally healthy, that's the reason you have the technology we have today. Thanks to us, mentally healthy atheists. So, there you have it, my friends. And these are the facts. The brain is the creator of thinking. A sick brain can only create sick, irrational, demented thoughts, which are at the core of all religions and all brain disorders like schizophrenia. And a brain operation will actually prove me correct. You know, everything I say has the evidence to back it up. And evidence is a word not found in religious psychosis or by the Christians. They don't understand what evidence means. They have no idea that the brain is the creator of thinking. No idea. Poor guys, they all belong in mental institutions. Christ psychotics. So, facts talk, science facts talk, religious bullshit walks. Pace di oro.